Tonight is September the 16th. This class is called Globalization Since 1492. This is the second class we've done. This is the second class of the year. Tonight I'm proud to share and introduce you to Dr. Mohammed Elmasry. Dr. Elmasry and I have been collaborating along these lines by doing video conferences in these courses for 4 or 5 years now. And I'm proud to draw your attention to the recorded classes with Dr. Elmasry, which are very informative. They've always been very engaging.
Cost for some of your students is really high because right now the government's deciding to download the cost of education to the students themselves, and this is not fair. Our health care system is under stress to go private. All these are problems that the government of Canada and Ottawa are really not looking after it, and if they are looking after it, they're looking after the benefit of the big corporation, which is not really the people. Number 3 in this is that we must understand the Western government. They're going after Muslim countries, not really because of the religion. Religion is a factor, but the Muslim country could be other religion, XYZ if you like. But there is 4 reasons for the Western governments to go after Muslim country, in terms of exploitation, in terms of occupation, in terms of harassing, and so on. The first one, which you mentioned really, is natural resources. Natural resources, especially oil. Number 2, their geography, their geopolitical position in the world are really strategic, because about 60% of the world commerce, either by ships or by air, go through Muslim countries.
Research it. If you come across terms that you don't feel completely familiar with, Google them. So we'll develop our discussion of that article this evening. I've already introduced this subject along with subjects that I could test you on in the midterm test, namely Klein, Obama, Palestine, Israel, Zionism, and then this big topic that we've been looking at, European exploration, colonization, empire building, and then indigenous resistance. Would it make sense to put Dr. Mohammed Elmasry within the framework of indigenous resistance? Not sure, but in any case, last week we spent a little over an hour speaking with Dr. Elmasry by video conference, and so I might ask you in a test about Dr. Mohammed Elmasry. If you Google him, you'll find he's very controversial. He talked about the Canadian Charger, his new internet vehicle, and he spoke at some length about why he felt that medium, such a venue, such a web page was needed. He talked about the mainstream corporate media and how he felt that the mainstream corporate media wasn't getting across the voices and opinions of those he most identifies with, those who seem closest to telling the truth or giving authentic information and perspectives. So this issue of creating alternatives to the commercial media on the internet, this is a huge subject. This is what we're working on in a way right now, running the world. And the picture in the foreground here is no doubt a meeting of the National Security Council. So in this book title, here is this very clear statement that this group in the National Security Council of the United States run the world. And if you read through it, well, how does that happen? Well, the United States has a very powerful military. It controls powerful navy. It's trying to dominate outer space. The United States has suffered a real setback economically. The United States is increasingly in debt, and China holds much of that debt. How will China use that power? But the course of human affairs, the global history since the end of the Second World War, has put more and more power until recently, because of economic considerations, in this area of government, which I refer to as the national security state. There was a National Security Act in 1947. It created the CIA. The quote that I read you from Meredith's book on Africa after independence, the quote that I read to you where Alan Dulles, the head of the CIA, said, Patrice Lumumba has to go, never mind that he's democratically elected. He looks like he's headed towards taking over and nationalizing the minerals, the gold, the diamonds. He has to be removed. And he was removed, and he was assassinated on the orders of something called the Central Intelligence Agency. The Central Intelligence Agency operates in the name of this National Security Act. So that term, national security, has implications that are global. The Pentagon, when we saw the colonial office of Great Britain, we could picture its role at the center of an empire as an imperial force. What about the Pentagon? What goes on in the Pentagon? Decisions are made there that affect people all over the world. People all over the world aren't asked their opinion, what should happen. They aren't canvassed. There's not negotiations. This inside story of the National Security Council, entitled Running the World, suggests another approach to empire. The fact that there was decolonization in Africa. We saw how that process ran into the obstacles of whites trying to hold on to their positions of privilege in the southern part of the continent. And according to Naomi Klein, that process still continues, that the African National Congress, for whatever reason, never followed through on the economic part of their agenda, only on the political part of their agenda. Zimbabwe is an area where much of the land was controlled by whites. It's been taken over by different armed groups, different groups that have some sanction from Robert Mugabe and the Zimbabwean government, the former Rhodesia. So we're seeing how that issue is being handled, and it's the economic situation of Zimbabwe is very dire. It's not good. So these issues are complex, and I would argue that when we talk about colonies and empire building, it's not all a story of history. It's a story that we continue to live through. And in some ways, this issue of a conflict in the Middle East, especially concerning the Israeli government, the Israeli state, and the Palestinians, it kind of captures these larger issues in history.